G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. This podcast is proudly brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Today on the show, it's the 2-minute warning out of round 14. If you haven't subscribed wherever you listen to your podcasts, please do that. Leave us a rating and leave us a review and tell your mates. All right, let's get stuck in. This is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rynne, joined by Ryan Daniels and late change, Xavier Ellis out, illness, Chris Robinson in the seat. How you going, mate?
How you going, guys?
Oh, well.
Thanks for having me. All the best to Zave. Thoughts and prayers.
Got a sore tummy.
Got a sore tummy or something, yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to him on the phone about an hour ago. He's turning it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go to the doctors. I might be dying.
Oh, sure. Because you've had to fill in most of his seats this morning, haven't you?
Oh, I had to get up at 5 a.m. this morning to go. I got a text message from Tom Atkinson, a producer of Zave's breakfast show.
What time was the text message?
I reckon it was about... Well, let me have a look.
So this is last night? This is Sunday night?
This is in the morning.
I wouldn't have seen it. How did
this
you
is a
see
text
it?
that's woken you up.
5:01.
This is a text that's woken you up at 5:01.
5:01 a.m. Xavier's crook. Can you come in and do breakfast?
Hang on. Is there a hello, how are you?
No.
Wow, Tommy.
Good on you, Tommy.
Tommy doesn't
you're better
operate.
than
Tommy's
that.
bedside manners are perfect.
You know Tommy, he doesn't operate with bedside manner. And then so I've just said, yep, I can be there in 45. Got there in 40. And all I'll say is they weren't unhappy with the performance. And when he called me before, I just said, you know what Baz once said, never let anybody in. Never give them an opportunity.
It's like the NFL when a quarterback goes down and another young quarterback comes in.
Feel like
It's
I've seen that movie
hang on,
19
hang
times.
Who was the
on.
bloke who was the quarterback for the Patriots before Tom Brady? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Gave up
No
his
one
seat.
And,
remembers.
you know, Baz learnt that mistake the hard way. You know, give me a couple of reading shifts. Next thing you know, you're the mayor, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and soon to be premier probably. Yeah.
Well, you know, you never say never. Actually, I just got something sent to me. I won't say where it came from, but it involves you, Chris Robinson, and some high praise.
Oh, wow.
Now, somebody has asked AI for a summary of the Hardball Gets podcast.
Really?
And whether or not it is... The question was...
So this is like a chat GPT.
Yeah, is the
Okay.
Hardball Gets the best AFL podcast?
Wow.
Was the question.
Okay.
Great grammar.
I feel like this is going to be a stitch up.
And I'll read out what AI said. As an AI language model, I don't have personal opinions. Yeah, right. But the Hardball Gets AFL podcast is a well-regarded podcast in
Okay.
the Australian Football League community.
Excellent.
It is hosted by journalist and commentator Chris Robinson
Okay.
and covers a range of topics related to the AFL, including news, analysis, and interviews with players, coaches, and other experts. That's not really accurate.
No.
The podcast has received positive reviews for its insightful content and knowledgeable hosts. No mention of us. And it's
Just one host mentioned who doesn't actually host, but yeah.
has a dedicated following among fans of the sport. However, whether or not it is the best AFL podcast is subjective and dependent on individual
Okay.
preferences.
I feel like you didn't need to
Righto.
read that last bit out.
Well, yeah, it's like the part at the end. We know this is brought to you by Cameron. I feel like we've been left. AI, what are we
little
doing
bit.
wrong here?
Well, see, AI.
The robots know
and I've
who's
gotta
really
find-
ticking this show along.
I've got to find this list. I think someone sent me like a chat GPT thing a while ago, which was like the best AFL journalist in WA, and I somehow
Oh, yeah,
was
you
on
were
the
like
list.
second on the list or something.
I haven't actually practiced it for a very long time, but obviously I made an impact on
It's very good.
our robot overlords.
Yeah.
This is what we got to figure out how to get the robot. Whatever Robbo's done here,
Yeah.
whatever algorithm he's hit,
Maybe it appreciates the statsy kind
I was
of...
going to say, because
Yeah,
you are a
data.
stat computer's a
The robot
database.
deals with ones and
Data.
zeros.
That's right.
1001.
That's what it is, you know.
Yeah,
we got to
that's
get
definitely
heavier
what it
into the numbers, which is not our strong suit.
Not really.
this is why we have not copped a mention.
Numbers and research.
We've hosted
Probably, it's why we bring Robbo in.
We're probably 200 episodes in at this point, and we don't even get one mention from
Chat
AI.
GPT.
Unbelievable.
I think we've been more than that. What's it been, like 4 years or something?
It's been a lot. It's felt like more than that.
It's been a long time. This
felt
room used
like
to have a
more.
weird brick wall.
Oh, yeah, the
fake
brick wall. What happened to the
That's
brick
long
wall?
gone. Brick wall's disappeared.
Anyway, we push ahead without
2-minute
Xavier
warning.
Ellis.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the big man makes it through.
Well, he's
Touch
back
and
on
go.
radio. He's back on radio tomorrow morning.
That's what he
he's all
says.
good.
That's what he says now.
Well, yeah, I'm not answering the phone at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'll give you the hot tip. Unless there's some please and thank yous in there.
Yeah,
Tommy.
yeah. Need a bit extra.
All right, let's kick it off with Port Adelaide.
Okay, that's me. Siren sounds a little more waffle than AFL this week, but we'll take it. It'll be great. Port
Producer Shannon's
Adelaide.
been a dark mofo for a week. She's lost her mind.
Port Adelaide, 11 in a row. Hands up if you saw this coming.
Negative.
No.
Amazing.
Nowhere near it. But they are playing great footy. And even on Thursday night, I was watching that game and I thought, here we go. They're done. It's over.
Yeah,
Geelong's got them. And then they just go bang. And I think one of the stories of the season, and part of it is for off-field because obviously his wife went through that cancer battle. He will always continue to battle through it. And got a young baby, Jeremy Finlayson.
Yeah, from the clouds, right?
But for his footy,
Yeah.
holy hell, 28 goals in 12 games. This guy has become, for Port Adelaide, who are a bit of a...
28 goals.
28 goals in 12. They're a weird team, right? They're not your token, this is set up perfectly like this. They've got the Butters Rosie thing going on. They've got Horn Francis playing out of his skin. They've got Powell Pepper having his career best season. Yep. The skinny kid, Todd Marshall's up forward. Dixon's in and out of the team.
Is it Bergman down back who's just jumped off the page?
The Cannon's back, firing.
The captain's not in the side.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Well, already is. He's marginalised to this sort of minor role. But Finlayson, for me, has been arguably the most impressive leaper from that club. He deserves all the credit that he can get, not to the whole thing.
He's a really important link, isn't he?
He is. He's a massive...
real important.
Correct.
It used to be when Charlie Dixon was out, it was a struggle and it was 2 or 3 third talls.
Yep.
But now he's playing such a good role that it doesn't matter that much.
And he's a weapon. His boot is a weapon.
So Todd Marshall's jumped up alongside him as well.
He has.
This year.
Whenever Finlayson's lining up for goal with inside 50, I'm like, it's going to be a goal. I'm sure of it. And even on the run outside, he used to do that for GWS sometimes. Once every 3 weeks, he'd kick a 70-metre goal on the run, and you'd be like, this guy could be anything.
It's not quite the same, but it feels like, remember when Jay Schultz became a really good player at Port Adelaide?
Yeah, I'll give you that. Do you know who he reminds me of? Is Jared Brennan. And I know we gave Jared Brennan quite a bit of love
about 15 minutes.
About 5 or 6 weeks ago. But there's a bit of that sort of...
This is why the robots don't have your name in here, because there's too much Jared Brennan
if
talk
anyone
for
ever
a
asks about
2023
Jared
podcast.
Brennan, I'm going to get a mention. That's what I'm aiming for.
The world's foremost Jared Brennan expert.
There is, I'll give you that. There is a fair
There's
bit
a bit of that,
Brennan,
right?
Yeah.
That's sort of just a different, weird sort of vibe. Long arms.
Doesn't look like your typical sort of bloke who's going to get it done in the forward line.
No, exactly. But he finds a way to get it done. And he's pushing together. He should be in the All-Australian squad at this point.
Yeah,
that's not absurd to say that. Good sign. It's a good sign.
Collingwood, so this is one kind of in the same vein. They got a relatively easy stretch. Some of these sides are pretty good. Adelaide, Gold Coast, Western Bulldogs, Freo.
It's an easy
maybe
stretch. Actually, some of them are pretty good.
Western Bulldogs going all right, Adelaide going all right.
Okay.
But they'll probably, but you'd expect them to win all those. So the one to put in your diary, I'm just getting it ahead of time. And because there's also their bye round, there's not a huge amount to talk about.
Collingwood Port
Adelaide, round 19, Saturday night at the Adelaide Oval.
Ooh.
Lock that in.
That's going to be big.
Eddie.
Who's wearing the prison bars?
Yeah,
Port should just roll up in prison bars.
I've been saying that for a while.
Just take the warm-up jumpers off. We're in prison bars.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
What's the fine? 50K? Sweet.
I reckon the sales, there was a couple of things that Koshy said last week. It sounds like the sales of the prison bar jumper will cover the fine.
Absolutely.
Do it. It can be like MJ wearing his dodgy Nike shoes that weren't the right colour. It's like, find me.
I love that.
They're the best publicity ever. Find me. Tough watch though.
Yeah,
I was going to say the jumper clash people would have a field day. It would be shirts versus skins at halftime.
Yeah.
It would be tough. That's a big one. What round's that? 18?
Round 19.
What night is it?
Saturday night. 5:40 start, Western Standard
Be
Time.
on 7, that one for sure. They would have set that one up.
You'd
Be
hope
on
so.
Channel 7 for sure.
So what's that Adelaide time? They're an hour and a half ahead?
Yeah.
5:40, 6, 7, 10?
Yep. Fantastic.
Lock it in. That's all I've got for Collingwood, really.
They're like the best team in footy.
Yeah, but they had a week off.
Okay. All right.
What are we? We're only 20 seconds short.
Melbourne. So this is me. They travel to the Cattery this week. So I mentioned this on, when did we do the pod last week? Last Wednesday's pod. Just a little watch on clubs coming out of the bye and how they'd been pretty trash to start with. It continued at the weekend. So Geelong got done by Port, faded out.
Yep.
And Gold Coast, the less said about them, the better.
Yeah, but Fremantle had a second bye, so that was pretty good
What do you mean?
on the weekend.
I just turned up and just didn't run around.
They didn't want
To get to them.
Yeah.
So that's 0-4 now. Clubs coming off the bye, playing against clubs that weren't off the bye.
Is that right?
If that makes sense. 0-4 so far this season. And so Melbourne's in that category this weekend because they played
playing
Geelong.
against teams on off the bye.
Yeah, playing against teams who didn't have a rest.
Also, we think Geelong will win based on that number.
If that number holds true, Geelong will win.
Right.
Yeah,
I think there's something to it because I do think it's a momentum killer.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the buys
totally.
in general? I would prefer 1 week off
for everybody.
for everyone.
Yeah, I'm in the
Take it
same boat.
and do it in one of those weird, like, there's a Monday game, like King's birthday game.
and then there's a Thursday game.
Thursday game.
Yeah.
So, like, it's only like, what's that, 10 days? Like, is that 10 days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
rough figures,
I like that because, and if you want to, put something else in between, like put the under-18 championships in there,
Yeah, I think
jam
they
it,
could
a
do
couple
a lot
of
of
games in there.
They could do a lot of work around the under-18s, having it at like Marvel.
Yeah.
And buy a one-day ticket.
I just think that's better. I don't like this 4-week drag. I was saying yesterday, it kind of feels to me, I know the games matter the same amount, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're watching pre-season and we're like, oh, what's the ladder? Who's got a game in hand? Who doesn't? I don't like it. I'd rather you just one game, clear, reset, everybody has a week off. It won't matter in 3 or 4 years' time when Tassie comes in anyway, because then you're just going to have a bye every week.
Yeah.
True.
So there won't be bye rounds. But, yeah, I don't like it. What about you guys?
No, I'm in the same boat. One
Yeah.
week off.
Take the 1 week.
Yeah, take the 1 week.
Yeah.
Take all of the pain for one weekend.
Yeah.
And then it's back.
You're in on too?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll be very happy with that. Let's make it. Let's make the change.
Think about all the holidays we could take too.
Yeah,
sure.
You're going to take a week off.
Brisbane.
Didn't you just go to Coral Bay?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I had to stress that I was missing stuff while I was doing live crosses from freaking Coral Bay. I was like, give me a week off. This is all about me.
Brisbane Lions.
I think that's me. Geez, they a little bit rusty over there for a little bit.
They played with their food in that game.
Yeah,
didn't
they
It was just
really
like,
did.
Finish them. Just finish them.
I like that analogy
Gosh.
too. Yeah, and they did play with their food. The one thing I would take out of that game from a positive, well, there's probably a couple, but the main thing is the form of Zach Bailey. Because I don't think he's had a
Yeah.
great year.
100%.
I think he's had a really quiet year. In fact, his last 3 games before this, he'd kicked 1 total goal.
Really?
Yeah, so he had 26 and kicked 2 goals 3, so probably could have kicked a couple more.
Bursting out of
I just think if they're going to be serious finals, like not just contenders, but premiership contenders,
Yep.
they need Zach Bailey being Zach Bailey.
He's that transfer guy between mid and forward.
If I'd asked you 18 months ago, would you prefer Zach Bailey or Zach Butters? I reckon
yeah, you would have said
most people would have taken Zach
He was
Bailey.
in some good form last
He
year.
was, and he was pushing people around.
You
He's
can only have one Zach B.
Yeah, one
Which
Zach.
one do you want?
Exactly, and I think I would have probably taken Butters because I love Butters, but
Yeah.
I reckon you would have had an 80%
Oh, sure.
people
No,
taking
I would
Butters.
have taken Butters.
Because I knew.
Yeah,
because
just
I
definitely
knew.
knew.
But Bailey,
Smart watcher of the football.
he kind of has to be there, Butters. Like
Yes.
maybe not all the time in
He's not as-
midfield, but he needs the impact.
He's not as clean. I was going to say he's not as classy, but he's got a lot of class about
It's a different
him.
type of player.
Yeah, Butters' disposals are all really clean and sharp.
Yeah, that's not necessarily Bailey, but he brings the aggro and he brings the energy, and
And he brings a finish.
they're a better side when he's up and about.
Yeah, I'd agree with that wholeheartedly. I think there's a lot going right at Brisbane, but it doesn't seem like they're quite operating at full capacity.
Yeah.
Like you feel like maybe they're sort of 10, 15% off where you think they
Definitely.
But they're still sitting third and what? No, not a game in hand, 2 games behind, sitting fourth, 2 games behind the second.
I'm
I
confused.
really lost myself there. This is why we
Yeah.
let Robbo do the numbers. This is why the computers don't like us.
Don't ask ChatGPT after this episode.
St Kilda. So the only team, are they the only team now to come off the bye and win? I'll just double check this, Robbo. Because they played another team.
They
coming
are
off the
because
bye.
they played another team, that Sydney slugfest on the Thursday night. Yeah.
So a couple of costly misses. They look like they could have won that game.
Definitely.
They just kept
Yep.
missing. And Max King was one of the one with a couple of bad shots. Is it that the final piece
and
of the
Higgins
puzzle?
as well. It's just kind of the same old stuff.
Yeah, just
with St
hit- just
Kilda
hit
up
the-
forward. Yeah.
This was the problem with St Kilda starting well. I think we all thought, are we sure this is what you want to take going forward?
Yeah.
Do they have enough? Because if you're going to be in this space, which it feels like they're going to be in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Classic St Kilda zone.
Very St Kilda-y, and Ross is going to be good enough to get you there with his tactics, and you can have Max King kicking 50, but that's about it. Like, we're not... I
Still
don't
a
think
big
this is a
class
list that has the potential to be a premiership contender at all. Like, I just don't think... But it's also going to be too well coached and too talented to finish bottom 5 where you're getting the great kids.
True.
Yes.
It's a danger zone that they're heading into.
Jack Steele's a big concern now as well. It's
100%.
been really hard watching Jack Steele.
Yeah. And they mentioned last week that he had a knee issue that he's been nursing along.
But do you not if it's getting to a point now as well, you should just take the
You can make the
time
case now that they're better off.
He did have some
having
time
someone
off,
else
didn't
there.
he? He had a couple of weeks off, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah, I think he did.
Something
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
Or was it
Was
the
it
same
shoulder
knee?
related?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to watch.
He came back surprisingly quickly from whatever it was.
Yeah, he's definitely nowhere near the same player.
No.
And that's the problem. If he's their captain and he's taking a step back, and everyone there's probably 2 to 3 pieces missing.
Well, he's
I'm not sure they're gonna
supposed
get
to be their best player.
Yes.
Like Max will be, but like Steele is supposed to be their guy. He's supposed to be their, not Petrarca, but he is their A minus guy, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have another one.
No.
don't
No,
have
he's so important in that midfield because Crouch gives you numbers, but Crouch is just Crouch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Steele's the guy who's the heartbeat of that midfield when he's up
Good game from Windhager, who's one of our boys from way back.
there. Yeah.
Essendon.
Essendon is me, so this is the test now for Essendon. So they've had a bit of a cruisy run over the past sort of 3, 4, 5 weeks. They're firmly in. They've done what they needed to do, in fairness to them. They're in that finals mix. Now the test comes over the next month. So this is their next 4. At Freo this week, which is a real test, despite how Freo has gone the past
You'd
couple
still
of weeks.
think Freo's going to win that at home.
Freo probably start slight favourites. Then they've got the 2 South Australian clubs back-to-back versus
jeez.
Port versus Adelaide. And then they go to Geelong.
And who are they at Adelaide for?
They're both of those games are in Melbourne against the 2 Adelaide
that's a
sides,
win.
which helps.
They're happy with that.
As the lights just come on in the studio for some reason. It's all happening today. And then they go to Geelong where they haven't won since 1990. If in fairness, they've only played about 4 times down there. But that's a really tough month. They probably start as, if you look at just the odds, they probably start as underdogs in all 4 of those games.
They would have to.
They need to grab at least one of those. If they can go 2-2 through there, they're playing finals footy.
I was going to say, because their back end's pretty good, right?
Yeah, but they can't go 0-4 through there and just lose all sorts of momentum going to the back end, fall on the wrong side of 50%. They need to grab at least one of those. So this Freo one becomes really important because you can make a case that that's the most gettable of those 4 for Essendon.
I think so. That and maybe the Adelaide one.
Maybe Adelaide
Because
and
Adelaide are a far better side at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, and they
Port are
haven't
winning
travelled
everywhere.
particularly well.
They love Marvel.
Yeah.
So you think that's going to be okay. And Geelong is pretty brutal. So yeah, this one is the one that they'd be circling. They're going, right, this is the one we have to win.
And I've seen enough to show that there's serious improvement in that Essendon side, but it probably I'm not. I still think if they make finals, it's 30% draw. Like the fact that they get West Coast.
Oh yeah, they're the team.
Twice.
They're
a very very.
There's
nice
always
run.
one team every year that benefits from the draw. Darcy Parish should be back this week.
No thanks.
Yeah,
No thanks.
That helps a lot.
not a fan.
No, I think they play better without him.
Oh, okay.
Wow, interesting.
But he'll still win the best on ground medal, whatever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He'll still get
They'll get
42
done by
to
40
over.
points, but he'll still win the medal.
Yeah. Western Bulldogs? No, Adelaide. No, Western Bulldogs. I'm all over.
I'm neither of those, so it's
Going
someone else.
beautifully.
No.
I have the Bulldogs. I was just waiting to see whether I was actually going to go or not.
you're right.
Cody Waitman, 6 goals, fantastic.
Yes.
Love 97% of his game. It's 3%.
What was the 3% you don't like?
The extra cheese he throws on the contact.
Oh,
Just really irritates me for some reason.
I think he's great. He's Kmart Toby Green for me.
Yeah, don't mind
You
that.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
similar build.
Mum and Dad, can we have Toby Green? We've got Toby Green. Oh, it's Cody Waitman.
It's Cody Waitman.
It's not Toby, it's called Cody.
Yeah, exactly. It's close. But he's pretty good. Like he in terms of providing a spark and providing something different, he does that. And he's been working into this form because he started the year injured. He's super important for them. He changes their ceiling for me. They battled through that game, only just got ahead of North. And to be fair, they lost Liam Jones and Tim O'Brien, 2 key defenders early. Aaron Norton had to go back. What do you think of that?
He didn't look the best, did he?
There was a couple of contests I thought he looked okay where he got in
He
front.
knows how to play, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, but he's playing on Coleman Jones as well.
Yeah.
It's not like he was playing on Nick Larkey.
It also helped make Rory Lobb a bit more relevant, though, right? Because
Yeah, but you're not want to.
it throws the
Who's got
Rory
more
Lobb-
talent out of Aaron Norton?
Oh,
than
I
Rory
know,
Lobb?
but at least it throws Rory Lobb into a position where he.
Are we
No,
back on
no,
Rory?
you've kicked 40.
Are we
and
back
you're a
on
top
Rory
10
Lobb?
draft pick, but we need to get Rory Lobb in.
We're not turning
I
on
don't
the
think we can
Rory
go
Lobb
a week
again.
without going Rory Lobb mention.
Bontempelli, we talked about his
Nice.
tackling and how he was one of the leaders in the top 5 in the tackles.
That's
for the
right,
AFL.
yeah.
He had another
Sneaky.
11.
Mate, it's a
Sneaky
good
tackle
year.
guy.
It's a good year.
He's starting to put together a year where you go, well, he's a vote getter.
Bontlow.
Could
Hashtag
be.
Bontlo.
Yeah, I like
I
it.
mean,
Hearing it
and
more
the
more.
guys, Nick Dacos is still a fetus. He's very young. And Zach
Yes.
Butters, first year as a Brownlow contender for both of them.
Yep.
Maybe it's the Boncia. You know,
Maybe it is the
if you're looking
Boncia.
for a safe, solid bet, maybe it's the Bond.
Can poll Adelaide Crows. That's me. So they.
sure?
This is one of. I'm pretty sure. I'm about 83% sure. This is one of the ones where someone has to win off the bye. They're playing Collingwood this
Yep,
week. So
yep.
one of the bye teams gets a win as a number 2.
So where is
okay.
this? Is
Unless
this in
it's a draw.
Adelaide?
It's in Adelaide.
Okay,
So
nice.
this is a tough one for the Pies. But they're 2 points clear in the 8. Their run home, which we thought looked great, doesn't look as great because some of those sides are starting to play a lot better football. But how do you feel about them? This is like their halfway point of the year. Coming out of the 8, do you think they finish that bottom 4? When do you think they're ready to properly launch?
Well, I think you got to look at who is in the 8 with them, who's going to stay in the 8, and who's going to come in. Well, it's not exactly a genius theory.
No,
But
you got to see who's in the 8.
what you're going to see is who's in there and who
What are
might
you
come
gonna
out
know?
and whether they'll stay in there.
What's that? You got to know.
Well,
Yeah,
Essendon being 6th.
You got to want it. They got to want it.
Chat GPT somewhere's going, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why.
You wanted to know. Essendon they've all played the same amount of games, these guys as well. But Essendon are 32 points. They're a win ahead of Adelaide. I would think Essendon's probably more likely to come out than Adelaide.
Agree.
I also don't really.
But again, that's on like Essendon's draw opens up so well. at
After that
Adelaide.
next
Yeah,
swap.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you got St Kilda, who we think are just kind of okay. We're not sure about St Kilda, and I don't really think the Dogs are a lock either.
No.
So there's 4 spots really there, and if you're looking at who's coming in, Richmond are coming in
Tigers
fast.
and Geelong 9
The Geelong, don't write off the Giants, and then you'd think either Fremantle or Carlton might have one little run left in them.
Well, you look
So-
at this, 13th place is 1 win off 8th.
Yeah, I would say if you had to pick St Kilda, Essendon, Adelaide, or the Bulldogs, who's the most likely to stay in there?
Dogs, then
I would say
Adelaide
the
for
Dogs.
me.
They're 8th.
Dogs 7th, Adelaide 8th.
I'd say Adelaide.
You say Adelaide most likely to stay in?
Yep. I thought I was the hater on Adelaide. What's happened to you?
Well, no, you asked me that they would be the next, but the
Okay.
Dogs, I think, are slightly ahead of them.
Okay.
And now we are on to Richmond.
Richmond is
in
me.
9th place. 9th, man.
So,
They jumped up to
back
9th.
to
They were
ninth.
like 14,
Their
15.
spiritual home. The Trent Cotchin game, what a night
Yeah.
to remember. Unbelievable. And his on-field impact on Saturday night, monstrous.
Yeah, where did this all come from?
Well, this is the thing. So
Him
the
and Dusty
past-
wound back the clock. 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And the past 3 games, they've just thrown him back into the guts. So he had 70% of game time, 70% of centre bounce attendances on Saturday night. He had sort of 50 odd and 60 odd the 2 weeks before that, and was literally zeros the weeks before that.
Yeah,
so
right.
McQualter had 1 week to look at him when he took over sort of midweek, and then after that, the 3 games after that, he's gone get in the middle. So I'm wondering what this looks like when Jacob Hopper comes back. Because Jacob Hopper's due back after the bye, maybe 1 more week and then after the bye. But what does it mean for his role and what does it mean for Cotchin's role? Because at the moment, the past few weeks, they've had that sort of 4-man midfield rotation of Cotchin, obviously Taranto, Prestia and Shea Bolton getting more time through there. Does Hopper come back in and automatically take
Well, he
centre
has
bounce
to.
attendance?
He has to, because
And
that's
who
what
does
he
he
is.
bump down?
Or where else are you playing Hopper?
So Cotchin, who's been electric the past couple of weeks, do you bump him back down or do you put Bolton more? I mean, Bolton's past month has been
Yeah.
unreal as well.
I think you try to find the right mix where they all get a taste.
Yeah. So you're
but-
taking
Bolton
4
can
into
go
5.
forward.
Yeah, and you don't restrict yourself. I mean, the other thing too is Cotchin. He's a million years old. Like, can he hold this for 15 or 10 weeks? Probably not.
Yeah.
So he probably
And had the occasion on Saturday night as well. with
and
the
they've probably
extra
said to
lift.
him, mate, can you give us a month? Can you do a month for us? Yeah, okay, I can do that, but then I'm going to need a week off.
Yeah.
Like, so there's probably a bit of that to it as well. But I would just think that because they've kind of been searching for that extra mid for a while. They've tried Jack Ross in there 1,000 times. They've given some other guys, you'll pin shits in there.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be fine. They just got to get the balance right.
Geelong.
Oh, that's me. But firstly, because Geelong are pretty boring, just been informed that I've been nominated for a Logie.
What?
Yeah.
What for?
Oh, wow. Congrats,
well
mate.
done.
Well, the Commonwealth Games coverage for Channel 7's been nominated
hey.
for a Logie.
That's a mate. You're a
Well,
But I'm a
significant part of that. Congratulations.
Do you get to go?
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought
Can
so.
you get Agro's
You get a
autograph
text from
for it?
Abby
Do you get
Holmes
to
then
meet
saying,
Alf?
congratulations on your Logie nomination.
That's amazing,
Well,
mate.
no,
Congrats.
Well, it's not mine.
Well,
You know,
well,
I would
it
take
is.
all the credit. Imagine if Zave were here.
Yeah,
You
You
no,
just
yeah.
couldn't let me have
Just
my chat GPT credit. You just had to just one up me. I couldn't even last 20 minutes.
So you
Unbelievable.
when you get awards and stuff, you put them on your desk. Do you not have a place at home for them? I've been meaning to ask this.
if I have to answer it,
It's more an
I'm going to
office.
sound very
What?
arrogant.
No,
It's more an
Why,
office.
too
It's an
full?
office power play thing. It's an
Too
office
full.
power play.
No, there is
Shelves creaking under the
there
weight.
is a joke at our house because every cupboard you open, there are older wardrobe.
Oh, place.
Literally,
McDonald's
My wife-
manager of the month.
they're everywhere. It's ridiculous. My kids have a collection of them in their room, pretend that they're theirs.
WA Media Awards.
A lot of WA,
Yeah.
a lot of WA media.
There's a lot of
awards.
categories.
There's a lot of categories. So yeah, there's the. But if the Logie comes through, that'll be
incredible.
going on the. That'll be going on the.
That's
world.
amazing, mate. In all sincerity.
It's not really me though, but I'll take credit.
No,
part
you're
of
a
it.
significant part
I
of
was,
it.
yeah, I was
Yeah, well,
one of the hosts.
Absolutely you were.
Yeah, I'll
That's
take it.
amazing.
Next thing,
Congrats.
Koshi Sunrise. Matt Sherbo's, we'll see if he works out. Rhino's got the
Well,
taste.
Shervo was also part of that.
Oh, there you go. He's coming for him. Geelong.
We've got,
Oh, yeah,
we've got
mate.
8 seconds left to talk about
Well,
Geelong.
I didn't really want to talk about him anyway. So they look tired.
Just spent 2 minutes talking about urine trophies falling out of cabinets at home.
What we saw was that Tom Stewart, when you put a lot of work into him, Geelong, they struggle a little
Yeah.
bit. I liked that play from Port Adelaide. He
Love it.
eventually got his numbers up a little bit at the end.
Yep.
But he was no serious impact on that game.
I feel for danger. I was in the exact same boat. My back came good. And then Saturday night, I tried to lift up a car seat and it went again.
Yeah, that's the
It's
same.
the old man
That's
thing.
the
Exactly
same.
the same.
You and Patrick Dangerfield.
You got an injury.
Both elite
you're like,
athletes.
I'm right
Both
through
at the
it.
top of their
Here
craft.
I come. I'm out here firing all cylinders. And then you pick something up the wrong way.
Do you know, I heard Patrick Dangerfield in an interview say it's just like Nick Rynne when
Yeah.
on Saturday night he
Yeah,
lifted
cleaning
a
up for the
babysit-
fourth birthday party. Give me in. Now,
So I got through
GWS.
Geelong without having to use a bullet.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Remarkable.
We figured out a loophole.
Kind of gave it a Logie bullet there.
GWS. So I think it's pretty clear, like one game back into it, but Sam Taylor is the best fullback in the competition, right?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Two pretty handy ins for that game. Taylor
I
and Josh
literally
Kelly.
Not bad.
changed my tip
No, he's Sam
those
Taylor.
two ins?
because of, mainly Taylor. Because I looked at it and went, Jai Amos is not touching the footy.
No.
Sam Taylor, he will walk away from that going, what the hell just happened? I need to get better. Because Sam Taylor is a freak.
Oh, Jai Amos.
Jai would have said that. Sam Taylor is the best fullback in the comp when he's playing, obviously. Not when
And
he's
I
not
don't
playing.
think there's someone like this is a.
When he's not playing, he's still top 5.
Yeah,
Some-
he
somehow.
probably is.
Somehow.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other ones who are like at that level, and I can't think of too many. That are all,
Wiedering
like,
hasn't
sustained
had,
level.
Wiedering hasn't had the best year. I mean, I
No.
always think that Wiedering's one of the best fullbacks in the comp. I don't think he's had a great year.
No, and he's more of a sort of centre half and like trying to get up the great.
Yeah.
Sam Taylor would just destroy you.
Yeah.
He put you in a black hole.
Yeah.
you won't be seen again.
And if you've met him,
till the
right?
final siren. Yeah, a couple of times in his.
He's so
18.
quiet and
Yeah.
peaceful, and he'd be so nice about it.
Yes.
Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to spoil with it.
Sorry, mate.
For the
I'll let
14th
you
time.
get a touch of the. glove
Yeah,
board.
yeah. And then he doesn't.
No, yeah.
Because he's secretly very
Oh, man.
competitive.
I tried.
We love Sam Taylor.
Yeah, I can't think of number 2. I know that, people throw 100 at you at a club level, but playing at that level at fullback and sustaining it, like
Well, Wilkie's had a really good year.
yes, but he's sort of.
it's a kind of a different role.
I think
isn't
Sam
it?
Taylor goes back 3-4 years as
Yeah.
he's actually moved into that role. He's only
Like-
been recognised once.
Yeah.
and he's getting injured a bit as well, which doesn't help.
If he'd played a full year, he'd be the fullback. He'd be the default. You know, at the start of the year, they were like,
Yeah.
let's write the team in pencil.
You know what? There's
Yeah.
half a chance. Given the All Australian selections at the end of the season, now he's back in.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just,
if he has 10 good
if
weeks.
they like him enough, they
Yeah.
get momentum rolling into the
I'll
last.
tell you what, GWS, is there something there now?
Yeah, I'm
They're
wondering.
having some moments where they look pretty good.
Yes. I don't know. We go in on them every year.
But they're trying some stuff, right? Briggs
Yeah.
looks good. Himmelberg down back they look so much better with him down
I
back.
think the rebuild
Yeah.
bounces quicker than expected, but I don't know if it's this year.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be dangerous coming home.
Gold Coast.
Oh,
Speaking of dangerous coming home.
Gold Coast is me. The
Oof.
complete opposite of dangerous coming home. This was easily the most disappointing. I mean,
Yep.
credit to Freo, but this was easily the most disappointing performance of the weekend. Easily.
Yep, I agree.
They came off 2 really good wins in
Carlton
the top
were
end.
fourth last.
Yep.
Then they had the bye to, rest your bodies after being in the top end for 2 weeks. Carlton, you're never going to get a better time to get Carlton at the MCG. They made a good start. They didn't get jumped early. They made a good start.
Yeah,
They probably
they
should have
were right
been,
in that game,
3 or 4 goals up at quarter time instead of only 1.
Yep.
And then just got punched in the mouth. So I
It
did
was all
some...
stoppage, right, as well.
Yeah,
They just got beat up at stoppage.
But
and-
in that second quarter, it was
Yeah.
just Carlton were just walking out the front of the stoppage, which is extraordinary. So Gold Coast, from round 14 onwards, I went back and had a look in their history. From round 14
this
until
is
the
gonna
end
be
of the
bad.
season, every single year, played 115 games. How many of them do you reckon they've won?
Oh, no.
Since
Out of
what year?
115 since they've been in the comp.
30, I'm going to say
From
38.
round 14 onwards, 115 games. How many
38.
wins are you giving
First 3 or 4 years, I'm going to give them nearly
None.
0.
Yeah.
I'm going to
115
say
games.
like wins
115 games, how many wins?
Something like 10.
30.
26 of 115 at 20, what's that, 23%.
Wow.
So once the second half of the season comes along, they don't want to know. And we
is the
saw
Gold
that
Coast, isn't
yesterday.
it?
It's just a classic Gold Coast.
That's bad.
That's
really bad.
horrendous.
Oh,
I noticed even early in the second quarter, Jack Lukosius got it at 50 and then looked for an option. And I was like, what are you
Yeah.
doing, mate? Like, you're under the roof, aren't you? Like, just
Take a couple of steps
could
to go
kick 80
around
metres.
and have
Yeah.
a ping. Yeah.
Why are you being apprehensive?
why are you looking like that? Was just like a danger sign. And then
They were at the MCG too. There's no.
I was
roof
at
the
MCG, sorry. I thought they were at the Marble
They've got
Stadium.
those strings over the top to try and get the seagulls away.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
Maybe he
true.
was
It's a
worried
little
about
bit
hitting
of
a
a
string.
It's a roof like
Yeah.
mesh.
Roof-like presence.
Roof and mesh. Fremantle.
Fremantle, geez, that was awful. Look, as I said, I tipped GWS, but I thought it'd be close. I thought Fremantle would turn up, and I thought they could have a crack. The concern going in was the forward line, and because of Sam Taylor, right? Jai Amos
Yeah.
and Tracy. And I do think that Jackson's been great in the ruck,
But
right?
they need another big forward.
They need him doing the stuff he was doing in that month before Darcy got hurt, which is bit of ruck dominance against the second ruck, pinch hitting forward, like taking
Yeah.
a couple of grabs, picking up the ground balls, kind of going in as a Swiss Army knife, sometimes in CBAs with Darcy.
Yeah.
They were starting to click. And when you remove Darcy from it, you take Jackson away from the forward line, you don't add in another tall because there's no
that
one
was
like
the
him.
concern. But I thought you could, so they moved Tracy into that backup ruck role, right? So if they do that, but they needed then that other, someone to
Yeah.
fill
So-
Tracy's
Correct.
spot.
So what you
They
really
never
needed
picked
was
him.
to bring in like a ruckman to play the Darcy role.
Yes.
But then you're bringing in, say, Liam Reedy, who's never
Well,
played.
who's that VFL dude? That's Liam Reid?
Reid, yeah,
The other-
yeah.
Oh, Noble's the other
So
one.
you're bringing in one of those guys who's never played. So then you're really going to have to. They have now lost 16 of their 17 first quarters.
It's nuts, isn't it?
That's nuts.
It's out of control.
So that tells you that something's off, right? Whether it's the
Yeah.
pre-game routine, whether it's how they're going in with the mindset, what are the speeches? I don't know. Like, what is that?
Give him a
That
bit of-
can't be
what
a
happened to
fluke.
the Superman
not-
capes? It's
yeah.
Wolfie time. No, we're not seeing
Yeah,
that,
bring out
obviously.
the. Well, they lost that game, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Did they lose the Wolfie time game?
They might have. It was
Pretty
a big
sure they
prime time game. Yeah, that's not just a little quirk where it's 8 out of 9, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, we got
Yeah.
lost a
That's
couple
a
and by a couple of
real
points.
bad-
That's a-
and all right,
that's an actual problem.
Legitimate. Yeah,
That's a ChatGPT would recognise that.
But then now, yeah, are Fremantle good at first quarters?
Yeah.
No.
they are not.
I'm just a chatbot.
Yeah, but the problem is once you start talking about this stuff, sometimes it can get worse.
Yes.
So if you start
The
going,
goal
okay, what are
kicking.
we doing wrong? Okay, is it what we're eating in the game pre-game? Or is it the bus? Should we get a different bus? What time are we getting to the ground?
What tunes
Oh,
we
well,
playing?
yeah. And just JL's going, oh, what do I say in my speeches that's not working? And, Alex Pearce is thinking the same thing. And like, superstitions, like all this stuff starts to get in your head and then suddenly you're out of control.
The other
Like,
thing, just quickly, the other thing we learned from that game is Sam Sturt is not going to win loose handball.
oh, man. That was bad. The
Oof.
one in particular, the Sonny, that
The transition one where he
And then
missed it by
well, and it turned straight
4
back
metres.
over for a goal. Yeah, it was
Ugh.
bad.
Carlton. So this is like I put an asterisk on that one. So for 2 reasons. One, because Gold Coast are coming
was
off
Gold
the
Coast after
bye.
round 14.
Yes. And Gold Coast after round 14 and off a bye.
Yeah.
But the other is it wasn't anything we haven't seen them do. It was all that stoppage. It was completely based around stoppages. Like there wasn't an extra, and that's sort of been the discussion, right? They're a stoppage-based side, and if they win the stoppages and run and get clean exits from it, they're doing okay.
Yep.
Whereas the rest of the comp has kind of turned to a turnover game. So it was not anything I haven't seen before off them, which makes me concerned that it's not anything that's going to hold up or change. They just they copped the side at the right time, right place, right time.
And I reckon
went bang.
Adam Chera has 3 games a year where he looks like the best midfielder in the AFL, and that was one of them.
Yeah. And that's it. Kennedy 9 clearances, Chera 8, Cripps 7.
Can I ask you this? If you're Carlton, and we could put this from West Coast's point of view too, let's say you're Carlton and you think you're better than this, right? Because you should be. And you go, oh, geez, we're going to end up 4th last or 5th last. Let's say they finish 5th last. So pick 5 they have in their pocket.
Yep.
Are they the prime candidate to trade that pick, aren't they? Like if you're looking at a team that's in that bottom stretch,
I'd try to get another player.
Most of them would be like, no, we need to get a kid. But Carlton are just in that space where they're like, no, we need more talent.
Yeah, that's their problem. They don't have enough talent.
That's been their problem for 20 years.
It is their problem, but I'm not sure they know that, Chris.
Yeah.
So I think you then take... I feel weird to call you Chris.
Yeah, that's never heard.
I felt like I was getting told off there.
Yeah. Christopher, here's the thing. Would you, if you're Carlton, would you take that pick? Let's say it's pick 5. They might get a worse pick than that. But would you take that to, say, West Coast and say, give us, I don't know, McGovern. Give us, a couple of guys. What would you be wanting for that pick, and would you do it if you're Carlton? I know what the answer should be.
Take the
but
pick
they're pretty delusional.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
So they're going to get a kid that isn't ready yet, that's not going to play for 2 or 3 years when they think they're in the window now.
I'm trying to think of what that's because they don't need anything. They've got all the right pieces there. They haven't just figured out how to use them.
I reckon they need another defender.
Another defender? Yeah. But no, you're not going to get a McGovern because, like...
The pick 5 you would.
No, but why would you want to?
And they've already got a
over
McGovern.
30s with hamstring issues now. And they've already got one, yeah.
Well, what's better than one McGovern?
What about you, Robert? Let's see
Three
the extent. Let's see if we can
Let's
extend
get
this
Andrew
one.
back in there. Do we have to extend Carlton?
No, God, no.
All right, what do you want to do? Okay, Sydney Swans.
Okay, that's me. So they're 2 games of percentage off it now. I think it's time to accept that they're going to join that list of clubs that have been pantsed in their grand final and then missed the finals the following year, which is
a thing.
Pretty extraordinary thing.
It's a real
we
thing.
We didn't think Sydney was going to be that team when it was mentioned pre-season.
This is
and now
putting
it's
you
going
on the
to become a
spot,
thing.
and you'll work this out eventually for your next one. Is there a number? Like, what's the margin you have to lose by to then miss the finals? And it's probably like anything over 46 or something
Then
is
you're
like,
done.
And then you're cooked.
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot. And I reckon the number's high, though. I reckon the number would be like, it's got to be 10 goals.
And then you're done.
And then you're done.
It's something. Yeah.
There's a number, a
I'll have a look.
psychological number.
Angus Sheldrick, wanted to shout him out.
I love him.
He's taken his chance beautifully.
Only almost 50% game time or something? 56%.
Yeah. So he almost willed them back in that third quarter, almost single-handedly with that little purple patch, and then didn't seem to get trusted that much in the last. I don't know whether Longmire doesn't really back him when the whips are cracking, but I mean, he, as I said, he was a massive part of them because you thought early in that third quarter, you thought, oh, Brisbane are doing this. This is going to get ugly now.
Yeah, and then Angus Sheldrick.
And then he dragged them back, but then was barely sided in the last. So, but he's been a real positive over the past couple of weeks. He's proved that he's ready at this level.
When you have an inside midfielder and you try to pick him and play him a forward pocket, he's no good.
Yeah.
And you chuck him in the guts.
Stick him
and
He's
you go,
a massive unit.
Greg Clark says hello.
He's so thick. Like he's just this.
boy.
Yeah,
he's massive. His arms,
Angus
his chest.
Sheld thick.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I like
Could that be a
We
thing?
can make
Angus
that a
beef.
thing.
Angus beef.
Angus beef is
Angus
great.
beef.
Angus is a great headline name. To
I
be
don't
in the
reckon that was
media.
the siren. I
That's
reckon
great.
Shan just wanted us to
Shannon's just
stop making
bulleted that
up
one after about 55
terrible
seconds.
nicknames.
Yeah.
Hawthorn. Should I give anyone
Shan,
Hawthorn?
let's
Hawthorn's getting
in
the
honour
bullet.
of Xavier Ellis not being here. They didn't play. I got nothing. Plus, it's fun to kill Zave's team when he's not here.
Well, North Melbourne, I was kind of hoping I would have the bullet. But they're getting better, all right? They're looking better.
Yeah.
They're not getting blown out.
No.
But they're probably still, they're going to finish second last probably.
Big game coming up in 2-3 weeks against West Coast.
Yeah, I think it's a tiny bit further away than that.
Is it? Right.
I was having a look yesterday. It
that
might be
will-
round 18 or 19 or something.
That's going to decide who finishes last for once and for all.
Yeah, but you'd still.
That's the real Harley Reid Cup.
Even outside of that, I don't know. I think North.
Yeah,
more
you
chance
can
of picking
see
up something somewhere
you
else.
can see North jagging one before then. I reckon you can see North jagging one.
Yeah, they almost jagged it yesterday.
Yeah.
And they were kind of in it for
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Yeah, and
they've
that's
been
been
kind
the
of in
case
it for a few
of them.
games.
Yeah, they're interchange.
Was it St Kilda? They almost pinched that one a few weeks back as well.
And then Sydney the interchange.
Yeah, that's right. They've been near about.
They've been there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, the past 4 or 5 has been pretty reasonable.
They're
Yeah.
slowly getting there. I don't think West Coast are going to beat them by any stretch. Although Paul, the chairman of West Coast, thinks that they're not going to win the wooden spoon, so they've got to find one somewhere.
We'll get to West Coast.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you? Again, how quick do they bounce? Do they got a lot ahead of them, like figuring out the coaching situation. Is Clarko coming back?
Did you think Clarko would be back by now?
I thought he would be back by now, yeah.
So did I.
I thought he'd take a couple of weeks.
Same.
How many
and then
games has
come
it been?
It's been at least 5.
Yeah.
5 or 6?
Yeah. It's felt like a lot
Just Brett
longer too.
Ratton's just career trajectory. He just sits back and waits for phone calls. Be like, oh, what do you got, 5-6 week contract for me? Yeah, I'll do it. Roll the arm over.
What was that movie that The Intern? He's the interim.
Interim.
The
interim.
Oh, Robert De Niro?
Yeah, the intern.
Was that any
He
good?
worked at
I
Google.
never saw that.
I doubt it. I would say it would be.
was a
It was okay.
heartwarming.
Yeah, I had to sit through that. It was okay.
It's no Godfather, put it that way.
It's not. The mighty
The
have fallen.
Interim, starring Brett Ratton.
All right, we could probably wind up north now.
And West Coast, I presume,
Yes.
is our final team. Yes, we have to do them. I was also hoping to bullet West Coast, given that they didn't play. How often has a team, though, had 4 premiership defenders come back in the 1 week? Because that's what we
Massive.
could be happening with West Coast this
Yeah,
week.
who's coming back?
Barris,
Yep.
McGovern,
Yep.
Shannon
McGovern
Hearn,
coming back.
Yep.
and Liam Duggan.
Yep.
So 4 premiership, and not just players, 4 premiership defenders all coming back in the 1 week. I dare say it's never happened in the history of the game.
And this is an unpopular opinion.
Round 1 after a premiership.
Could they get within the line for the Sydney game? Just hear me out. The line for the Sydney game is 58.5.
They could get within that. Because what I was going to say now.
There's a sneaky chance
Yeah.
to get under that.
The key is the back line because you saw against Adelaide, wow, it was awful.
Yeah.
Like
We're
Paul
just
Rep
saying,
Bazzo, Elliot Yeo.
But this is
As
full
a-
cavalry now.
full cavalry
So this
back
is
line.
the win. They're a chance to get within 60 points of the 4th last team.
For a team that's lost 11 straight by
Yeah.
40 plus.
What I will say is
Yeah,
this: if
it
they
is.
continue to put the team that they're going to put out on Saturday will be their best team since probably the Derby,
Yeah.
right when they lost
Yeah,
everybody in
100%
10
it will be.
minutes.
Yep.
So I would say that the chances of them having 100-point losses from here are diminishing.
Correct.
I think you're going to see a lot of honourable 35 to 55-point losses. And they're going to be able to control the footy a little more. Because coming out of that back line now, Hearn's going to go short to Duggan. He's going to go to McGovern. They're going to hold the footy. And the more they can do that, the less the other team can score. You got more sure hands. You got Shuey and you got Yo back in the middle at the moment, touch wood.
There's a familiarity.
There's a
to it.
familiarity. That's exactly right. And you can play Oscar forward. Bailey Williams is pretty good in the ruck. I'm not saying they're going to be any good. I'm not saying they're going to win many games, if any. But I think the worst of it
Yeah.
is probably out of the way for
Yeah,
this
I
year.
agree.
And you're going to see a lot more sort of, those, as I said, 35 to 55. That's what I feel like. And I might be wrong. It could get worse. It has just continued to get worse for 2 years.
And I just mentioned it before, but I do think, in terms of the chairman, so Paul Fitzpatrick,
Yeah, Paul.
yeah, so being all credit to him wanting to be out there fighting the fires, but you just got to temper things a little bit.
Look, I feel for him because I think, not just because he said I did a great job on that
But
interview.
yeah, no, that's very insightful.
But I can,
Oh, he's a good fella, he knows his football.
Geez,
Just turn into the Ryan
I was going to
Daniels
say,
tribute hour.
geez, I've had a bit of me time. So he's not going to let this fly at all. I got to
He
get it.
created the vacuum.
I got to get it while I can. But what I think, if you asked Luke Shuey or Adam Simpson, how many games are you going to win for the rest of the year? They would both say,
Yes.
we think we can win every
aiming
game.
to
But you
win
could
everyone.
talk around
you
it
have to-
as
well,
the president.
Yes, he probably should have pivoted and said,
It's not
we
about the
understand
number
it's
of
going
wins
to
and
be
losses.
really tough and
Yeah.
we're going to be up against it, but we do have to go in with the mindset that we could win every game. That's probably what he
That's
should
how
have
you say
said.
it, yeah.
It didn't come out
Very
that way,
insightful.
obviously.
Well, this is why, because you obviously say everything. You have some kind of relationship where he thinks
Well, I
things,
summarised it well
you say
for
them.
him.
You've done it again.
I've summarised it.
Just send him that in an email. Actually, I know what you're trying to say, and I've summarised it well.
New movie, The Summariser.
The summariser, you and Al Pacino. All right, now let's move on to.
Cowboys.
There was a very, very good chance that sting wasn't going to happen when
Yeah.
Shannon pressed the button. So
Remarkable.
we're going okay here. All right, let's roll through, gents. Do you want your last week's as well?
Yeah, what was mine
All
last
right, so
week?
yours last week was Zach Butters with Kieran Briggs as your backup.
Oh, geez, it's going to be hard for Butters and hang on to that. Yeah, you know what? I'm bumping up Briggsy.
Okay.
You're getting rid of Zach Butters as your guy.
Well, you can't stay up there forever. Yeah,
you got him, mate.
he had a
He's
He's
quiet.
had
Mix it
a
up.
pretty good 6 weeks.
And he's enjoyed some spoils at the top of the tree on my boy. I can't
Wow.
keep him there just on name
Unbelievable.
value. He slipped a little bit. What we'll do is we will put Sam Taylor into the backup spot.
Ooh, bloody bastard.
Get those
right.
long limbs into me.
All right, good. I'm taking Zach Butters then. Let's go.
Clever.
Zave, he's your.
Clever.
Who's your backup?
I'm
Your
not going
backup
to leave
has to be
Zach
a
Butters
Hawthorn
just sitting
person.
on the shelf.
So Zave had Mitch Lewis and James Sicily.
Yeah, I'm getting all the Hawthorn out of here. Sorry,
Yep.
Zave, especially when they didn't play. Yeah, I'll take Butters.
As your main guy.
As my main guy. Give me some Gus Sheldrick. I'm all in on Gus.
yeah.
Horse
Hold on,
playing,
didn't you
horse
have
playing
Gus
Hang on,
Sheldrick?
hang on. He
Oh,
was
did
my
you?
man.
Yeah.
Oh, get out.
And
But
he's
are you-
holding.
And he's holding?
He's holding
you
the
can't have
ground.
Gus.
All right, give me Cody Waitman because you disparaged him earlier.
Kmart Toby.
Said he.
Yeah, Kmart too.
I think he can be better than Kmart Toby.
Okay.
Is Target better than Kmart?
I think so.
What's the standing
best
between Kmart, Big W, and
I thought
Target?
Kmart
What's
was
the
great for like
ranking here?
homewares these days.
Yeah, I would.
right?
I would
Producer
put
Shannon?
Tarjay slightly ahead.
Of
No,
both
I
of them?
think Kmart's
Yeah.
ahead. I think.
Really?
We'll do a
And,
poll.
and is Big W a clear third? Is that right?
I think so.
I think so, yeah, a bit.
It's a bit off
everyone's
brand.
in it. Okay.
Big W.
Yeah, a bit off Broadway.
Yeah, put it this way: if you're thinking which of the three is going to be around in 10 years, I don't think Big W would be.
So
my
could you
favourite.
say in the ranking of supermarkets or that kind of shopping centre,
Yeah.
Big W's had a big L.
They're the Aldi.
And that was our boys. Brought to you by Big W. Where lowest prices.
So I'm
Probably should
going.
have checked if they were a sponsor of something at least before I went in.
I'm going with Gus Sheldrick. He holds the crown for
All right,
last
sure,
week.
fine.
And
As the runner-up, though. What did you
no,
put
no,
him
he
in
was the
straight-
main man. He went
Oh,
straight
he was
into the
your
big
number
spot.
one.
He was
He goes-
straight into the big
Jeez,
spot.
I really should have listened to the end last week.
And then in the
me guess.
backup, we'll go as just like consistent best player in the competition vibe. It's Marcus Bonapelli. You
Oh,
can
the
just
boss.
sit there. You can just sit there
Yeah.
slightly behind Angus
Yeah, sure.
Sheldrick. You know, there's the natural order of things.
Something to aspire to for Bond.
yeah.
Okay, so then what is your backup then?
Waitman.
Oh, you went
Waitman
Sure,
backing
yeah,
up Butters,
yeah,
yeah.
That's right.
I'm
Alright.
stoked to have Butters.
And this has been the Hardball Gets AFL show, brought to you by the Mazda BT50. You do you. We'll see you next week.
Every Monday's Mad Monday. Join me, Xavier Ellis, and Mick Barlow for the weekend's biggest stories in the AFL. The hardest hits, perfect plays, and controversial calls. Mad Monday, every Monday night at 7 o'clock, only on 7 Mate.